Ms. Wilski, for more than a decade, I've been very concerned in carrying what I believe is common sense legislation to help individuals who have terminal illnesses receive timely access to their earned disability benefits. For someone who's diagnosed with a terminal illness and given less than 6 months to live, they are literally running out of time. That's why I've sponsored bipartisan legislation, the Expedited Disability Insurance Payments for Terminally Ill Individuals Act, and been joined in the past by senators from this committee, both sides of the aisle, to fix this massive problem. The bill ends the 5-month disability insurance waiting period for those diagnosed with a terminal illness that have less than 6 months to live. In 2023 alone, more than 30,000 people died waiting for disability decisions to come from Social Security. That's even before their 5-month wait begins. So a policy that forces people with a terminal illness to wait 5 months when they don't really have another 5 months is a terrible policy. For people with terminal illness, they usually can't work at all. On top of the loss of income, enormous expenses from medical treatments, other unexpected costs kick in. In many cases, spouses, family members have to take time off just to help support that individual. No reason for someone who is paid in to have to wait 5 months, especially when they don't have that much time left. So Congress rightfully terminated the 5-month waiting period for people with ALS in 2020. Can you explain why it would make sense for Congress to make a similar common sense exception for terminally individuals with less than 6 months to live?
Thank you for your question, and I think we would be happy to work with you on technical assistance in your legislation to address that issue that beneficiaries are facing in accessing their benefits.
Yeah, but beyond working with me, can you explain to people who are watching why it would make sense for Congress to make a common sense exception for terminally ill individuals?
Well, I think people who are terminally ill are not going to be able to receive their benefits for long periods of time, and so having quicker access is going to help them in those last few months.
Mr. Morton, how can we improve an individual's well-being? You mentioned in your testimony a report titled Lessons from SSA Demonstrations for Disability Policy and Future Research. The report I thought it had an interesting discovery concerning the non-monetary benefits of work. The researchers found even without much of an increase in earnings, greater employment could reflect improvements in well-being for people in SSI beneficiaries and recipients. 45% of beneficiaries and recipients reported they had significant goals that included working, advancing their careers. For some, their disability is an enormous impairment to achieving their career goals and returning back to work. There are also those for whom going back to work is the very thing they need to improve their mental health and their personal well-being. Not the money side of it, but the other aspects of their identity in terms of the value of work. For those who want to get back to work and whose condition may have improved enough to take on more employment, what seems to be a biggest barrier for them to return to work?
Studies, when they have surveyed beneficiaries, many will say, yes, work is a goal for them. They look forward to work. But when they're asked the reasons why they can't work or why they stopped work, the most frequently cited reason is their physical or mental condition. And so because disability for some may be episodic, they may have months or even, for years where they can work to some degree, but then their disability becomes severe again and they can't work for extended periods. And so this can cycle. So oftentimes it's their impairment, but it can be inaccessible workplaces, the fear of working too much and maybe losing those benefits, particularly healthcare benefits, which are sometimes double the value of the cash benefits. Those are some of the barriers that I think beneficiaries frequently cite for the reasons why they stop working or don't work.
So, Ms. Wilski, then what reforms could be made to SSDI to help encourage recovery and a return to work instead of ongoing dependence?
Thank you for the question. I think we know that our work incentives are very complex, and so simplifying them, making them easier for people to understand while maintaining those protections that I think are so important. And that's really a balance to get it right, to simplify it, to continue to allow that ongoing eligibility, and consider the cost effect of those. That's what we need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.